Saltburn is the new film from writer-director Emerald Fennell, and it follows Oliver, played by Barry Keoghan, as he befriends and grows increasingly more obsessed with his classmate Felix, played by Jacob Elordi, as they spend the summer in Felix's family estate, Saltburn. This is a very interesting movie because I feel like it's filled with a lot of up-and-comers. Emerald Fennell is a very interesting filmmaker. I haven't seen Promising Young Woman, but it got nominated for several awards, including Emerald Fennell's direction. So she's very much an up-and-comer right now in the film industry as a director. Our lead, Barry Keoghan, was just nominated for an Oscar and hasn't really been given a lead role in a major film yet, and Jacob Elordi is a rising star, having gone from the Kissing Booth films to roles in Euphoria and now a string of indie films within a few years. So in a lot of ways, Saltburn feels like a lot of young, new voices collaborating and coming together. And I can tell you right now that it results in a film that you can tell has a lot of talent put into it, but doesn't quite land how you want it to. So I'll go ahead and get into the positives, and you can't talk about the positives for this movie without going over the cinematography. Oh my god, there are so many shots in this movie that just look like it is a painting. I absolutely love the look of this movie. It's the best part of the film, just how it looks. It's incredible to me how they were able to incorporate so many different landscapes into this movie. You know, for a movie that takes place for part of it in Oxford and then another part at basically a castle on the countryside, they are able to get in so many different looks, such as the inside of a pub on a cold day, more greener, lush areas. There's a maze. The inside of the castle has a lot of different looks to it. So there was a lot of variety in this movie, and all of it worked for me. I think that this is a gorgeous film. A lot of the shots here are addicting. That's the best word that I can think to describe a lot of these shots. Absolutely superb job by cinematographer Linus Sandgren, who actually won an Oscar for La La Land, and I love the cinematography in that movie too. He won an Oscar for that. He should be nominated, maybe even win this one. It's an incredibly shot movie. I also love the direction they went with the aspect ratio in this movie. Emerald Fennell did an interview talking about how the different aspect ratio gave the viewer the sense that they were peeping in on something they shouldn't be seeing, and I thought that that was a fantastic choice for this film. I thought it really worked with the tone that they were setting. I thought it worked with the cinematography. It makes it feel really old school. It kind of reminded me of Spencer from a couple years ago in that way. And I just really love the decision to go that route for Saltburn. Let's talk about Emerald Fennell's direction. She does a great job here. I truly believe that she got the best out of all of the performers and the landscapes that she had without either superseding the other. It all really works well together. And she really has sort of a Sofia Coppola thing going on with incorporating music into her film in a really fun way. I gotta say, this movie has a fun way of incorporating Murder on the Dance Floor at the end of this movie, but really loud, bombastic tunes from time to time here, and I thought it was very well placed by Emerald. And her direction in this movie really makes me want to go back and watch Promising Young Woman now. I've had plenty of friends recommend it before, but now that I've actually seen a movie that she's directed, I'll go back and watch it. Also, something that I was thinking about after the movie, I loved how meticulous they were with the costumes in this movie. It's not really something that you'll think of, but the decisions on when characters are wearing clothes and whenever they kind of have their shirts off, whenever they aren't wearing anything, I thought was really clever and interesting and sort of served the themes of the rich not really caring, or whenever people feel at ease in a place where maybe they shouldn't, and just the contrast of clothing between Oliver, our main character, and basically every other character of this movie for most of the film. I thought the contrast there was very interesting. In fact, there's a scene, and I believe it was in the trailer, where one of the characters points out that he can tell that Oliver's suit is rented, and I thought that it was just really clever to make that apparent to the viewer that they are different in every way. Oliver and every other character in this movie are really different, and it really makes him feel like an outsider. And as we progress through the movie and Oliver gets increasingly and increasingly more submerged into Saltburn, you sort of see him start getting rid of clothing throughout the film, and culminating in a scene that is going to divide many viewers. I thought that it was really clever how they went about the costume design and the implementation of costumes in this movie. Let's talk about the performances. Barry Keoghan is excellent in this movie, and man, oh man, he goes for it here. I gotta respect it. He had a leading role in this movie with a talented director, and he went for it. He went 100 out of 10 in this movie. And you know what? He was really, really great in the film. He has to play a lot of different aspects of this main character. There are going to be scenes where the viewer doesn't like him, and scenes where they are rooting for him, and scenes where they're not really sure what to think of him. And Keoghan really pulled off all the different aspects of this character that he needed to, and did so to near perfection. I thought that he was really fantastic here, and I hope that we get to see more of him as a leading man in the future. And you know what? I was skeptical before I saw Priscilla. Jacob Elordi proved me wrong in that film, and now after this, I'm here saying he's legit. This guy is a legit actor. He is a scene stealer in this movie, and he sort of serves as the heartbeat for the film. Wherever he goes, the movie goes, which is sort of intentional given Oliver's growing obsession with the character. But Jacob Elordi is great in every scene that he's in, and no matter where he is in a shot, you are focusing in on him, which I believe was intentional by Emerald Fennell, since he's sort of the center of Oliver's world. There's a bit of time in the movie where Felix is not as prevalent into the plot as he was before, even though his presence sort of drives the plot, and I think the movie really dips whenever he isn't at the forefront, which I believe is a true testament to how Elordi played this character. And at this point, I love the selection of films that Jacob Elordi is doing. You know, he did Priscilla this year, and I thought that he was really good in that. He's been doing Euphoria. I believe they're going into their third season here pretty soon. And looking ahead, he has lined up a collection of really great indie films that aren't these big romantic comedy films that you would expect from someone like Jacob Elordi. So it seems like he understands where he is in the industry right now and how he wants to navigate it. And if he continues doing these small indie movies where he's sort of proving himself, I don't see any reason why this guy can't be a movie star in the future. He is, I said it before, this guy's legit. Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant are excellent as Felix's parents in this movie. They're sort of those ditzy rich people that don't really do anything. Rosamund Pike in particular is fantastic in this movie, and I hadn't seen Richard E. Grant in really anything since the last Star Wars film, so it was great seeing him on screen again. Then rounding out the supporting performances, we had Archie Madikwe, who you may recognize from Gran Turismo earlier this year, and this guy really has gone from not being on my radar at all to now being someone that I have my eye on, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Another great supporting performance here was Allison Oliver, someone who I hadn't heard of. She played Felix's sister and sort of a love interest for Oliver in a weird way. I won't give up any spoilers, but I thought that she was great in the movie. She has her moments to shine, particularly a scene with her in a bathtub. I thought that she was outstanding. So I just got done talking about a lot of great positives. I'm overwhelmingly positive on this movie. So why is this movie good for me but not great? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with its drastic shifts in tone throughout the film. The script needed a lot of work in how they were sequencing and weaving in some of these weirder scenes, because the movie goes from maybe like a 3 out of 10 weird at parts. Like, there are definitely weird moments, but then out of nowhere, it'll go from like a 3 to 1,000. And whenever I say 1,000, if you've seen the movie, you know that it goes there. This movie is weird. It gets really, really weird at parts, and it's just extremely jarring given what we had been given up to certain points in the movie. And there are numerous times where Oliver does really weird things, okay? Again, I don't want to give up a whole lot about this movie, but like, whenever I tell you it is 1,000 out of 10 weird, it's 1,000 out of 10. And it makes it really hard for the viewer to follow Oliver's character after he does a few weird things. You know, we understand that he's sort of an outsider, but after he does certain things, it's like, I'm kind of out of it with him. And I feel like how this movie tries to end, it tries to be a little bit clever with you, but I feel like it would have landed a little bit better if we didn't know certain things about Oliver up to a certain point. And it would have made for a better consistent tone throughout the movie. You wouldn't have had to sacrifice any themes that you were going for in there. You could get across all the themes that you need, but wait to reveal certain things until the end of the movie. I feel like it would have made for a better ending. The ending does culminate the film, and I think that it's a good ending, but it just could have worked better for me. And sometimes it feels like they just want to go for random shocks for the sake of just shocking the viewer and being like, what on earth is this guy doing? Which that doesn't work for me very well either. So whenever we get to the last 10-ish minutes of the movie, you kind of already have your suspicions about certain characters, and it can feel like the movie is meandering to an ending that you already know is happening. So I mean, the climax, everything that they were going for was there. It just wasn't sequenced properly, in my opinion, to make for a better movie that made more sense. Now, in conclusion, this movie's weird, and it is not for everybody. This is one that I can see being taught in a film school, but this is not going to land with a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to like this movie, and I understand why. For me, the things that it does good, it is great in. It's just the script needed to be reworked for me, because at the end of the day, this movie was good for me. Elements of it were excellent, top tier. Saltburn cinematography alone is going to be studied for a while. This is going to be a very influential movie. I could see the next generation of filmmakers being heavily influenced by this movie and how it was shot. For me, the negatives just make this not a great film. It just makes it good. This is definitely Emerald Fennell's big swing, and in a lot of ways it works, but whenever it tries to get too far out there, it just didn't work for me. But those are my thoughts on Saltburn. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe for more if you liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.